Alrighty, y'all. It's Renee here, and or Stephanie Renee, if you're obviously seeing this on my what is my old channel, not my new channel. And I thought I would be able to get a sewing video done for my other channel last week, or this week, but it just is not. I mean, my duplex is probably 1,000 square feet, if it's that much. Might even be like 900 square feet, something like that. I'm not good with that. It's just really tiny, and with a toddler and a newborn baby in here, my brother and his kids, it's just not. Sewing videos aren't going to happen till they get their own place, and I can do that. And they're actually away visiting. They're somewhere else tonight, so I'm able to do this video. So, trying to move on really quickly to the actual subject of this video. Kat suggested that I do a video on this, and at first I was like, I'm not going to do a video on that. But the more I thought about it all day long, the more pissed off I got. And it's just, with this, internet and all the things you can do nowadays, every business, every type of business, everything is susceptible to some criticism, and it's easier to get the word out there. And doctors' offices are no exception. I don't care how much schooling you've had. If you're a lousy doctor, you're a lousy doctor. It's no different than any other profession. And I have really taken issue with the doctor's office that I chose. I really don't have a wide range of choices because of my income and my health issues. I have Medicaid for Twisty and I. And I'm hoping that, relatively soon that could be something that could change. Going to have to anyway by the time she turns 19. She's not going to have insurance anymore, neither am I. So anyway, she's 16 now, but anyhow, I'm new to this area. We moved here last year, and when I applied for Medicaid, didn't even think I'd be eligible. So I just kind of, you're on the spot in there when you go to apply, and the caseworker was like, well, you got to pick a doctor. So she gave me a list, and I picked one that sounded good. And it just so happened to be, I'm not even sure if I should name it. I don't want to get sued or anything. They wouldn't get anything out of me anyway. But anyway, it's called Hodges Family Practice here in Asheboro, North Carolina. And it's fairly close to where we live, so that was a plus too. And I thought, if things get really bad with my health or something and I can't, it's almost like within walking distance, just a couple of blocks. I mean, I've never been in a big city, so I don't know what a block is, but relatively close. And I really enjoy the PA there as far as her personality. She seemed like a really nice gal, and she's really young. Just really pleasant to talk to. But as time has progressed, and it's been over a year that we've been here, I am not liking her as a healthcare provider. I haven't even visited with the other actual doctors in the office, and I don't know at this point if I want to. But getting to the point, just to say this, losing a spouse, losing a parent is very stressful for any individual. And it has been physically stressful on Twisty and I. And she has been complaining for over a year with some stomach pains. And a few years ago, they actually, I think it's okay with her if I say this. She doesn't like for me to talk a lot about her personal stuff. But we thought that we had figured out what was wrong a few years ago. I ended up having to take her to the ER, and she had a really large ovarian cyst. And it was just a cyst, nothing spectacular. They said it would go away. Well, she continued to have a lot of stomach pains, and it was actually in a different place. But every time she would mention it, this was when we found out she had it. It was in the other county that we moved from. When we moved over here, first problem was it was hard to get the old doctor's office. They never sent her records. And so the problem I had beginning with the healthcare provider I see where we're at now, is she's always treated me like she didn't believe a word I said. Very condescending, very patronizing towards me, but in a manner that I get the gist. She thinks I'm full of shit. And it pisses me off because I wouldn't ever make up a health problem for my child especially, or for myself, because I hate going to the doctor. So if I'm there, trust me, rest assured, there's a problem. I absolutely hate it. I don't like. I grew up in an atmosphere where if we complained of a headache, we got slapped upside the head to knock our headache out of us. So I just don't like to complain about my health, and I put things off until I'm absolutely so sick I have to go. And so anyway, after a year of begging and beckoning and telling her, please, there's something wrong, my daughter's, and even she did blood tests last year on Twisty, and she called it, her exact words, quote unquote, markers for Crohn's disease. So apparently there was some infection or something in Twisty's blood work. Well, she was scheduled to, she actually just right off the bat scheduled her a colonoscopy. Even though I did ask, I said, can she see a specialist? Because I had mentioned the first time she started complaining, could it be her gallbladder? Because I had my gallbladder out when I was about 30, 32, a little bit after I had Twisty. So anyway, she's like, no, we're just going to send her to a whatever. And before she turned 16, Twisty would have had to, I would have had to take her to Brenner's Children's Hospital, which is about an hour drive from here. And it's just scheduled her a colonoscopy. Okay. Twisty didn't want to go. She just put it off and just begged, Mom, I don't want to do that. And I said, okay, we'll reschedule it. And it was so close to her before she turned 16 that she could have gotten it done over here. So I said, okay, we'll just see what we can do. And I told the doctor, I said, you got to understand what you're dealing with is a mother and a daughter who both have really strong social anxiety issues. So there's going to be problems with that, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, after I actually called and canceled the appointment at Brenner's, and I said, I'll talk to the doctor and get it rescheduled. Twisty still continued to have problems with nausea, not feeling well, and she would just, it would scare me sometimes because she would go pale and just look like she really felt like shit. So I'm still like, could it be her gallbladder or something like that? Could you just at least send her instead, you know, if we can't send her, don't send her straight off for the colonoscopy, because I know it's very intrusive when you're a young girl like that, and you should rule out other things first. And so finally she kind of rolled her eyes and said, we'll do a full x-ray and of her tummy, her upper and lower tummy, and we'll just see what happens. Okay, so she got her x-ray. I took her into the hospital here to do that. And after 3 weeks I called and left messages. It's impossible to get anybody to talk to you up there, and they don't call back. And so I called, what's her blood work? What did we find out? And I left 3 or 4 messages, and finally after like 3 weeks, the nurse called me, and she said, oh, everything's fine, and we have her scheduled with a gastroenterologist. I'm probably saying that wrong, but anyway. So we go yesterday to Twisty's appointment with the gastro doctor, and he comes in and he speaks to her about her problem. Really nice guy, really good doctor. I can tell right away. He's really friendly, really there. So he then opens her chart and says, well, Mom, she has some really large gallstones. And I'm just looking at him. I'm like, okay. And Twisty looked at me and said, didn't you ask about that over and over again? I said, I sure did. And he looked at me and he slides over on his stool and has the chart, her folder in his hand. And he says, this is a large gallstone. She has a really big one in there. It's not new. This didn't just happen. It's been there a while. And I imagine she's in a lot of pain. And I was just like, gritting my teeth, because I had asked so fucking many times. And this nurse from Hodges calls me and says, blood work, everything on the x-rays, all of that was perfect. Not a single problem. But we're going to go ahead and schedule her for we got the gastro doctor to see her. And I'm just done. Okay? Because now I'm questioning everything they have told me. For me personally and for Twisty, because about 6 months ago I started having a lot of joint pain on my right side. Only on my right side. The left side seems to be fine, and it started in my knee, and then it just kind of slowly was working up to the elbow and the arm, and now I have trouble even lifting my arm all the way above my head. It hurts so bad. She prescribes me Voltaren cream. Come to find out, it's kind of dangerous to use, especially when you've got blood pressure issues. So I had to beg her for a month to give me to re-prescribe my lisinopril for my blood pressure. So I'm just about done with this doctor, but I don't know how, having Medicaid, I'm going to be able to switch to a doctor. I actually, yesterday, when Twisty and I got home from her appointment with the gastro doctor, I started calling around, and I got either we don't accept Medicaid patients or we're not accepting patients right now. So for the time being, I just don't know what I'm going to do. I'm stuck with this doctor, and no, please don't suggest it. I cannot drive out of town. I have a 14, 15-year-old car, and I need to stay in Asheboro with my medical care right now. So obviously, Twisty's going to have her gallbladder out. And I'm so fucking pissed at this doctor because over and over and over again, she refused. First of all, she would not schedule her an x-ray. She wouldn't do that. When I mentioned, and I worried about that cyst, and it's actually completely gone. It has dissolved itself. So that was my biggest worry then. And I trusted the doctor when I said, could it be her gallbladder? And she said, oh, no. Mm-mm. Bottom line, get a doctor with heart, get a doctor with experience, get a doctor who will listen to you, get a doctor who will not treat you like a fucking liar. I am so fucking pissed. I actually told this doctor a while back when I was having the pain in my knee. That was another issue. She just didn't listen to me. She just acted like it was no big deal. And I had to beg for that x-ray to get that done. Turned out it was pretty bad arthritis in my knee. And now it's moved, and even the last time I was in there, I was like, okay, I'm hurting all down my right side. It's difficult sometimes to even move. I wake up stiff. My joints are always hurting. It's very painful. Give me something besides something that's going to give me a fucking stroke. And I'm not a pill popper by any means. But if I'm hurting, I want something to get rid of that pain. And it's just ridiculous how these doctors... I went to medical school, so I know better than you. You don't know me. And to treat me like I don't know what I'm talking about, or I'm lying, or I don't know my own child, or whatever you think the problem is, I am so fucking done. I mean, this just disgusts me. I ask repeatedly, could her gallbladder be acting up? Because I'd been through the same thing, and I noticed the symptoms. She would get nauseous. Anything greasy or fatty that she would eat. Mac and cheese is her favorite food. And when she would eat mac and cheese, it would make her sick. Believe it or not, as big girls as Twisty and I are, we do not eat a lot of fatty fried foods. I have a jar of olive oil that I bought 4 months ago. That's how often we don't cook fried foods. We just don't fry things. We don't, eat like that. But on the occasions that she would eat something that I noticed when my gallbladder acted up, it would make her sick. I mentioned that. I was like, she sometimes just looks like shit because she is drained of all her energy. I'm disgusted. I'm done. I'm shopping for a new doctor. I don't know how that's going to work out with having Medicaid right now, but I sincerely hope things are picking up for me in small ways. I'm by no means a professional photographer. I've said that before, but I have people who love what I do, and so I have 2 weddings scheduled coming up. One is actually next week that I have to shoot, and I've charged so little. I feel like I underrated myself. So I'm a little, that is going to have to change if I'm going to make a living on my own. But definitely soon I've got to think about getting our own insurance or something. I don't even know if that'll help because it's so difficult. I mean, the cost of health care is outrageous, and I could show you my dresser right now where I have all my medications, and it looks like a 90-year-old lady lives here because I take about 8 medications a day. And I think that our decline in our health, mine and Twisty's both, was just the emotional toll that grief actually took on a physical toll for us, because there's a lot of things that you can associate with stress that cause some problems. And the doctor did mention too that he thinks she has IBS, but definitely no Crohn's from what he sees right now. The IBS is just from stress and things acting up. But yeah, so my baby's got to get her gallbladder out. And she was all excited because I just took her to get her first ID the other week, and she was job hunting. And now, we're going to have to put that off because she's going to have surgery. And I know she's not going to feel well. And so she was excited. She's like, I want a part-time job, mainly because she wants to meet people and get out and do things. And so, poor baby. She's just, yeah. So, yeah. That's that. Peace, y'all. Bye-bye.